Hello, welcome to Working with Miniatures. I'm Jim, and tonight we're going to be painting the Christmas Dragon from Reaper Miniatures. We'll primarily be using Army Painter war paints and metallics. Let's get started. Though this miniature was airbrushed, I'll be base coating over the entire miniature by brush, so you would not need an airbrush if you were following along. I airbrush miniatures en masse, so it's not uncommon for me to ignore the work, utilize it, or to go back and change it with an airbrush later. The first highlighted is added over about 75% of the body, avoiding the deeper recesses. The next highlight I'll apply to about 50% of the body, with less on the left side or lower side of the body. I'll add a few additional thin coats on the right side or higher side so that it's slightly brighter from the imagined overhead light source. The first shade is added much in the reverse of the previous highlight, focusing on the lower side and under areas, or what will be the darker recesses. I try to preserve some of the original base coat, however, leaving about half of the remaining base color untouched. The next highlight I'll apply slightly to the lower half of the body and mainly focus it on the higher side. This will be applied to approximately 35% or so of the miniature. Originally, this was going to be the brightest highlight I was going to add, and though noticeably brighter than the pure red before it, I wanted more of an orange color showing. So I do not stop the highlights here. I also decided that the chaotic red shadow wasn't dark enough, so I thinned down alien purple and heavily darkened the underside and recesses. Here, I try something I knew better than to do. I dust off Babe Blonde, one of the Army Painter's worst colors, at least in my opinion, and slowly build up glazes of it. Despite mixing this paint on my Vortex shaker for over 5 minutes, rotating the bottle into different positions periodically, it's at best a perpetual glaze that does not cover evenly. Ultimately, I throw the Babe Blonde across the room and turn to the far more reliable Daemonic Yellow, and add a more defined final highlight to the hide. This yellow, along with Arid Earth, are, in my humble opinion, the two best yellow family colors Army Painter has from their classic war paint set. With the hide done, and having utilized twice the colors I originally intended, I start on the horns and talons, deciding on a much more minimalistic approach. I pictured this as a baby dragon, having left its mother's den, his curiosity drawn to the nearby township where a strange festival was occurring late into the night. Still wary of the odd bipedal creatures, the young dragon crept around the town, hiding in the alleys and darting from roof to roof before it spied the pleasant, glittering objects stashed beneath the tree, managing to grow within their ridiculous wooden caves. Because I pictured this as a baby dragon, I wanted to keep the horns and talons relatively clean, as if they had not yet been sullied by the brutal life of combat, hunting, nor the dimming that comes with age, akin to a young child's first teeth that have yet to suffer the rigors of the world. Ultimately, the horns and talons are base coated, shaded, and then finished off with 3 progressively smaller highlights, with the final highlight being just a few scratchy strokes or a dab at the tip. The book, presents, and candy canes were done off camera, but the colors used can be found at the end of this video in a snippet of the spreadsheet that I keep on what paints I used for each project. I apply Army Painter's matte varnish to the presents and the base to help reduce the reflectiveness of the metallic paints I used for wrapping paper, as well as seal the inks that were used in the airbrushing I did on the miniature. This will prevent it from reactivating and bleeding into the snow terrain I'll be applying shortly. I considered applying matte varnish to the hide as it's also glossy. However, I decided against it. Fresh, younger leather is often more reflective than aged and battered leather, and I wanted that same feeling captured here. I then mix a little of Mr. Weathering solvent and multi-black oil and test how it flows on the wrinkles in my fingers with a cheap synthetic brush. I then apply this as a pen wash around the eyes, nose, mouth, and the ribbons of the presents. Once everything is dry, I mix AK Interactive Snow Terrain with a little water until it's a slush and then apply it to the base before sprinkling on AK Interactive Snow Microballoons. I then black out the base and call it a night. This is the final result. For lessons learned, I need to set this bottle of Babe Blonde alight, though I'm too stubborn to do so. I feel like it'll be amazing at something. I just haven't figured out what yet. I should have also painted the candy canes first. These were an absolute pain in the ass to try to get a semblance of the stripe pattern without accidentally painting the wings. The only reason I didn't show myself painting them in this video is that it was nearly impossible to get a good angle for filming them without the brush or another part of the miniature obscuring the view. Here is a look at all the tools and colors that I used in this project. It's going to wrap it up for tonight. I hope you learned something or were inspired to start or expand your own collection. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you like the content of this video and would like to see more, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm Jim with Working with Miniatures. I'm truly grateful for your time, and I bid you a fond farewell. Till the next video. What are you doing? Don't touch my face. Don't touch my face. You don't need to touch my face. You don't need to touch my face.